Hello everyone, welcome to Virtual STEM Club Fingerprint Frenzy. I'm Sandy and today we're going to check out fingerprints. You should have already picked up your take and make bag with all the supplies you're going to need to do our investigation today. And let's go over what's in the bag. Alright, let's get started. In your take and make bag, you're going to find a magnifying glass, a small bag of flour, an ink pad, a brush, a little chart that's going to show you some of the different patterns, or actually most of the patterns that you'll find in fingerprints, and then a chart that you can use the ink to record your own fingerprints. And we actually are including two, so if you have a family member in your house that would like to join you in your investigation, we'd love to have you let them try that as well. So the first thing we want to do is make our own fingerprint chart. And the study of fingerprints is called dactyloscopy. And that is a study that identifies a person by their fingerprints. And fingerprints are used mostly by investigators, police, that kind of thing, and scientists. The first thing we want to do then is take our chart, and you can see by my chart I've already done my left hand, and it will tell you on the chart right hand and left hand. So I'm going to take the ink, and it'll tell you thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. So just take your ink pad, and your ink pad will be a little bit different than this one, but you want to start and kind of roll each finger across the ink pad like this. All right, and then when we go to put it on the chart, and again I'll start with my thumb and roll it to the side, and then just kind of roll it across the chart. And it doesn't have to be straight up and down. You can see I did mine a little crooked. And then just do the same thing with your index finger, which the index finger is finger number 1. And just roll your finger across your ink pad, and then roll it in the correct spot on your chart. Then your second finger, or what they call the middle finger on the chart, we'll roll it across, and hopefully you're able to see some of the patterns on your fingers. And with our magnifying glass, when we get done doing this, we'll compare them and see that they're not exactly the same. And so once we get to the pinky finger, we'll smush it down, roll it, and then go ahead and do your left hand if you like. You will have messy fingers, and the ink will come off pretty well with a wet wipe. So if you have a wet wipe at home, I would go ahead and clean your fingers right away so you don't get it on your mom's couch or on your clothes. If it doesn't come off as well as you would like with the wet wipe, go ahead and go to the sink and wash your fingers with some soap and water. All right, and then once you've cleaned up, we want to take a look at our fingerprints, and we'll use our little chart to compare and see if you can find any of these patterns. This one is called an arch, and then there's a tent arch, a right loop, a left loop, double loop, a right pocket loop, a left pocket loop. And when they say that left, it means starting at the left and going towards the right, or this one is a right, which means it's starting at the left. Excuse me, I'm saying that backwards. Starting at the right and going towards the left. And then the whirl is just kind of going in a circle. And then you might have some mixed patterns in your fingerprint. So take your magnifying glass and look, and in my right thumbprint, I see right off the bat, I see, looks to me like maybe a tent arch. And what else do I see? All right, I see a whirl. So just do that with all your fingers. Just compare them, take your chart, and see what kind of patterns in there you see. If you have a friend or somebody in the house that wants to do the extra chart, do that and compare them. See what kind of different patterns you can find in your prints. All right, so now that we've done that, you can also identify prints in your house with flour. So what we're gonna do is ask your mom or dad or an adult or grown-up person in your house. You could check a door handle, like the refrigerator or a doorknob, closet door. There's all kinds of places that fingerprints are in our houses, maybe even on your bike handle or something like that. I wouldn't try this on like your electronics. Don't try it on your phone because this is dusty and you don't want it getting in your electronics. But just take your flour, dip your brush into it, and you don't need a lot, and just dust and see if you can find fingerprints on whatever you're looking at. So far I'm not seeing any, but you never know. And this is kind of what when the investigators investigate crimes, this is the technique they use. They don't use flour, but they dust things to see if they can find fingerprints. And so far, we're not coming up with anything that I can see, but let's keep going for a minute and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, so we're just taking our flour and we're gently dusting our bowl to see if there's any fingerprints on there. I think we might just have run across a fingerprint here. Here we go. So I think that's fingerprints. So what you can do then is once you find fingerprints on whatever it is you're investigating, you can, if it's your fingerprints, you can look, take your magnifying glass and look at the prints and compare them to your chart to see if you can identify your prints or if it's somebody else in the house. And again, just, you might have to, if your flour is too thick, just kind of blow it off and take a look at your prints. One fun technique that you can do, we don't have the supplies in the kit for it, is if you wanted to preserve these prints, you could take a piece of wide tape, tape it across here, and then pull the tape off and tape it onto a piece of paper, like onto the, if you had a dark piece of paper, you could put that piece of tape on the paper and that would preserve those fingerprints. But yeah, try some different surfaces and see what you can come up with. See how many different fingerprints you can identify in your household. Thanks for joining us for Virtual STEM Club Fingerprint Frenzy. I hope you learned a little bit about your fingerprints and were able to find some fun little tricks and little prints in your house that you could identify. We'd love to see any pictures or video of you doing the project, and you can share them with us at the email address that's on your screen now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.